Welcome back to the Evans Family Garden. We are in my kitchen today because it's raining outside. It's also fall, so there's not too much to do out there. So I thought I would do a quick video on how I make some beef stock. So every year we like to support FFA students that have worked hard all year long raising animals, and we support them by purchasing those animals at the end of the fair season, and then we get them sent out and butchered and packaged for us. So we have here some beef soup bones. We do get them out of a place called Lemoore here. They do a really great job for us, so we send all of our animals there. This year we purchased a steer, a pig, and a goat. And the reason we do that, not only to help the students, because they work so hard. A steer project is a 9 to 12 month project for these students. They get done with a fair and they're already looking at new steers to purchase for the next year. And these animals are raised by these students. They go out there every day, multiple times a day, to care for them, feed for them, bathe them, walk them so they get all their exercise. They're very well taken care of, very well fed, very high quality animals. They have a really good life, and then they go through the fair and they actually help the students learn a lot about not only business sense but how to care for animals. And so we support the students, and so we get all of our meat from the students, and all of this meat will most likely last us until next year, plus some, depending on what we use and what dishes I make. Now, I don't have any chickens or anything, so I do have to purchase chicken and turkey and other specialty things that we want from the store. Fish, if Victor hasn't caught any from fishing. But everything else, we now have a whole freezer full. When you send the animals to the processing plant, they call you and they ask you what kinds of cuts that you want, how thick that you want them, because there's different options depending on what you like. And they asked if I wanted any of the soup bones. I said, of course I do. So they packaged up all of the extra bones, and they're called soup. Label them beef soup bones, so I know what they are. These are frozen, so I'm gonna unwrap them, stick them in these pans, and pop them in the oven for 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half maybe, because they're starting out frozen. So I'm gonna roast these guys first, and then I'll end up putting them in some pots filled with water and some other veggies, and boiling those for hours. So let's unwrap these and see how they look. In the oven they go. I wish you guys could smell this. My house smells amazing. I am so excited to take these out of the oven. I wish you could smell my house. It's amazing. Look at how beautiful these things have come. This is amazing. So this is exactly how you want it. You could cook it longer if you wanted, but I don't want to overcook it because it's going to cooked in the pots anyway. But you can see like the edges are all browned and crunchy and delicious. There's juices in the bottom of the pan. You can see as I swirl these around. They look beautiful. They are roasted. I think they've been in there about an hour and 20 minutes or so because they were frozen to start with. If they're not frozen, you don't have to cook them that long. You want them to look like this. So I'm going to pull both my pans out and get my pots set up. I'm going to take these beef bones, put them in the stock pots. There's a lot of beef bones and I don't want to shove them all into one pot because that'll be a waste of space, and this way when I split them up I can actually get more broth out of it. So I have two trays, two of these glass dishes. I use glass dishes to roast mine in because that's what I have. I have heard that like stoneware is really, really good for this, but I just don't have any of that. You do want something that has higher sides because as the meat cooks, it's going to create juices and you want to keep those juices. You want to add those juices to your stock pot. They're going to add so much extra flavor. So use something that has high sides that can catch all of those juices you can then pour into the stock pot when you're ready. I'm going to put these in the stock pots. I'm going to add some vegetables to them. I'm going to add a bunch of water, and then I'm going to let them simmer for several hours, 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours. Some people do like 8 to 12 hours. Depends on how much time you have and how much richness you want in your broth. My video stopped recording. I don't know at what point. I wasn't paying attention. I was just talking. So let's see. You can do anything with any bones as long as the bones have been, I recommend cooking the bones in some method first, whether you roast it, smoke it, grill it, however you want to cook it. Use the bones, use the meat off of it, make a meal, and then take the bones, and as long as there's some meat and some fat to it, add it into a stock pot, add whatever vegetables and seasoning that you want, throw some water in there, let them simmer, and you will have stock. Now the beef stock and red meat stocks are going to be a lot more rich. They're really good to use in, I use them in pot roast a lot of the time. I'll make pot roast in the crock pot and I'll add beef stock to it. Stews and roasts is mainly what I use beef stock for, but there are lots of recipes. I made vegetable beef soup with beef stock. Lots of different casserole dishes that you can do call for different stocks, and so it's just really good to have some on hand. So I'm going to let these cook for 5-6 hours. We'll see how late I feel like staying up tonight. I typically portion them into 2-cup portions. I'll take my measuring cup and measure out 2 cups worth and then put them into Ziploc baggies. So I use the quart size Ziploc baggie, the freezer kind. This guy here, quart size freezer Ziploc, and so I like these one. They're thicker, they're made to be in the freezer so they'll last longer. But then they also have this white area here that you can write on with a Sharpie, so I'll put what it is and I'll put the date, typically just the month and the year because that's efficient enough. And so I portion these into 2 cups and then I lay them flat in my freezer and let them freeze flat. That way when they're done freezing, they're super easy to stack. And then these are really easy to defrost, so when I need some, if I know I'm going to need it later for a dish, I'll pull these out and put them inside of a container, or they rip really easily, so I'll just open it up, rip the sides, and then it's basically a giant ice cube, but I'll put that in a dish and let it either defrost in the fridge, or I can thaw it out quickly in the microwave or in a skillet on the pan or something like that, or I can just throw it in the Instant Pot, whatever I'm going to use it in. So really convenient, but I do recommend portioning your broth into 2 cup, 1 cup, whatever fits for you. Most of my recipes call for at least 2 cups of broth, and so I like to do that, and it fits well into these Ziploc bags and still lays flat. I do recommend writing how much is on them on the bag, how much is in them on the bag. That way you know next time, because it could be months before you get to these bags. But yeah, so that's how I store my broth. So I hope this inspired you to use any extra bones that you have, use the carcasses of the chickens that you buy from the store. A lot of people buy those rotisserie chickens and use it for like shredded chicken and tacos and stuff, but then they just toss the carcass. Save the carcass, and if you don't have time, throw it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in your freezer, and then pull it out and make stock like this. It works really, really well, and you will be grateful. And then you don't feel like you're wasting food as much because you're getting a second use out of that animal. So I hope this inspired you to use more food to expand your cooking skills. If you have any questions for me, if you have favorite recipes that you want to share with me, put them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, and I want to know what you're cooking, what you use. If you have a different method, if you have something that you prefer, if you have a different way that you like to store your broth, let me know, because I like hearing all of those different ways. But thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned something, or you just had fun watching me cook. And I will see you next time.